It's today at EVE Online, May 7th, 2020. I am Matterall. We're going to talk about the new PLEX trading available now on your phone. So Jita PLEX Market is now on your phone if you have a mobile phone. So you can trade from there. We'll dig into that. That just came out, new feature for that EVE Portal 2 application. You'll have to re-download it in order to benefit from the new features. But first, let's go to the numbers. The most violent regions in EVE Online in 00 space are Delve with 963 kills. Second is Kalevala Expanse with 774 kills. And third is Veil of the Silent with 689 kills in the last 24 hours. Most violent regions in Empire regions starts with Lone Trek at 3,439 ships destroyed. Domain at number 2 with 3,484. And Cinque Leison with 3,330. Auspiciously, the Forge, which is usually number 1, is in 4th place with 2,575, not even close to the top 3. Most violent systems in EVE Online in the last 24 hours are LXQ in Ethereum Reach, that's 284 ships destroyed. 1DQ, that's Delve, in 233 ships destroyed there, and MTAC-O in Tribute, 195 ships destroyed there. I want to point out that first place LXQ is one of the home systems for Horde, and 1DQ in Delve is home system for Goonswarm and the Imperium. Which tells me it's kind of a routine day. Most violent systems in low-sec. First place is Tama, 327 ships destroyed. Second place from the Bleaklands region is Oyanata, with 287 ships destroyed. And in third place, Onenen, with 180 ships destroyed. Looking at activity for non-player characters, the last 24 hours has UTAC F in Outer Passage in first place with 34,000 NPCs destroyed. In second place, 8BTAC from Paragon Falls. It's 25, essentially 26,000 ships destroyed. And in third place in Tenerife's region, system 2PGTAC, 25,000 ships destroyed. Those are NPC ships destroyed.
Before you continue, you should maybe ping out the show.
All right. Arya, can you take care of that?
He's not in the chat. He left.
Okay, let's do that. We'll be right back after this break. All right, there it goes. Okay, those are the stats. Let's go to the Killboards. This is the big ships that have been destroyed in the last 24 hours. 10 billion ISK worth of ship or more. Actually, structures belong here as well. Just trailing off yesterday, May 6th, which was the 17th anniversary of EVE Online. You can see there was a slew of things that were destroyed. We got to half of them, but let's check the other half. In the Citadel, you see there is a Tartara engineering complex that was destroyed. Pandemic Horde lost a hell in HPV. Brave Collective lost a jump freighter, it looks like, in Canid. So it must have been, it was lost to Pirate, which is a group of pirates in HiSec. See what that was carrying. Well, it's a jump freighter, so it's already worth 10 billion on its own. So it was carrying about 5 billion worth of gear. It looks like it was personal gear rather than a run for logistics for the group. Hey, I see a Noctis in there. Ship rarely seen. Right, so just a jump freighter with some guys stuffing it from the Brave Collective. You also saw in UC as well, a Citadel was, sorry, not a Citadel, a Asbel, another engineering complex, but a smaller engineering complex. Oh, I'm sorry, by the way, I said that the Tatara was an engineering complex. It is not. It is a moon mining facility. And you also saw Nyx go down in Canid as well, Ashku system. And that was belonged to totally Eclipse. Volta got that one. And then most recently, the Initiative lost a hell in Fountain. System is DBR. And that was taken out by Snuff. Okay, at this time, there are 24,000 players currently online. Yesterday's peak was right around 31,400. And today's top story is the Eve Portal Jita PLEX market. Let's actually bring that up. I'm going to put that on screen. I'm going to slide that president down because he's looking at me and it's creeping me out. Okay. So our top story today is the Jita PLEX market that is brand new. It's a feature that belongs on Eve Portal, which is an app on your phone rather than inside the game or on your desktop client or anything like that. And let's see what it says. A new feature has come to Eve Portal, the official EVE Online companion app. Exclusively for players in Omega clone state, the Jita PLEX market will enable you to trade PLEX anytime, anywhere, directly from your mobile device via the Eve Portal app. The Jita PLEX market gives you the ability to trade PLEX for ISK and vice versa. All transactions go through the Jita 4 TAC 4 market, where players can browse and create PLEX sell and buy orders. In addition, you can browse and modify or cancel outstanding PLEX orders and browse your PLEX transaction history. Well,
wow, you just Fun Sui's job.
Yes. Well, it was only 2 paragraphs, I think. I think I can manage that.
Good job, Maderal.
Thank you. Take a little virtual bow here. All right, let's bring up what that app looks like.
You've got to scream suppressed, Fun Sui.
Snaked.
I didn't know you were in here, Fonsui. I would have let you have done that. Shoot,
I'm not worried about it.
But
This
so
is
you're
more.
fired. We don't need you anymore.
That's it. No, this is more about Caleb's joke, and I appreciate it.
Okay, good. All right, here's the app. We have it up on screen. All right, let me. What do you guys want to talk about?
The PLEX market.
Well, how this is most likely just phase 1, I hope, because alone this is kind of a non-story. It's a nice little quality of life. Now you can also get it on your phone, but that's about it. It's not gonna change much, and anyone that thinks that this is a massive change are deluded.
Yeah, we can talk about the event sites which are up.
Do you really need to check on the PLEX prices and buy and sell PLEX while you are not playing EVE Online and you are at work?
All right, before we go into all your thoughts on it, I made a mistake and asked for that first. Let's actually just preview this thing and show people what it looks like. And I have on my phone, you can see that let's see. This is a live phone. It's Matterall account on here. And so the market can be found right here at the beginning. This is actually where they stage. As you can see, there's a celebration banner. Here's the Eclipse banner. So this is announcements on your phone. So it's one of the first announcements. And if I tap it, it should take me right into the market. So that's your first way in. Now let's go back to the home page. Another way in after this announcement goes away will be under More, which is the bottom right here. And you can see that there's a different menu here. And right in the middle there, you see Jita, PLEX, Market. So we'll tap that. And that'll be your way in later on. And so what I'm looking at here are 4 tabs. The first one is Trades. Those are all live and in the game. Next is My Orders. I don't have any, so that's blank. Here we have My Transactions. And here is Trend. So this must be the last days prices, the highs, the lows, and the mediums.
Yeah, you need to stop there already, right? Because that's basically the table from in-game, and that's fine. It's very cool that we have that. It's just when you bring something like the PLEX market to an app, you really should have added a decent graph tool as well.
Right. Well, but this is
Now, question
let
is,
me twist the phone.
now, does it matter though, Caleb?
Yeah.
Given the fact that we have third-party tools like, Eve Marketeer, which you can open with your browser no matter where you are?
Well, that's fine. I'm well aware of all the tools. I just think if you want to bring something like this on as a feature, you should have added the graph. It's just an obvious mistake.
Well, the thing is that what they
Whoa.
added was the transaction capability.
Back
We
off the
already
mic a
had.
little. Back off the mic just a little bit. Go ahead, Fonsui.
No, we already had graphs because as we said, we had the ability to see graphs on the web whenever we want. All we needed was the ability to actually make the transactions.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking.
Okay, so
I guess if you go down the route of, is this a look, Nick in chat said this PLEX market looks like a proof of concept for future additions to market trading when not at the game. I guess maybe they would add that, but they're just going to see how this is received first, perhaps, rather than do all the work on.
Perhaps
The
let
way
me
I see it-
let me bust in here for a second. What I'm showing you now is that you can have some customization for the sell orders and stuff. So these are color customizations that you can adjust yourself if you don't like the default colors. And I think this is for
or
color.
if you have color
Yeah.
blindness.
Exactly. Sorry, that is probably exactly what it's for. It's for color blindness issues where you can change the color scheme to a different color for your eyes if you can't see red or can't see green. Thank you. Let's go back to trade. So these are the live orders, so we can see what the live orders look like. Should we place an order?
Because it was already discussed a while back that when you did direct purchase, it should really go directly into your PLEX Vault, right? And it's a feature that's been asked for quite a while. This would have been an obvious point to actually add that, because then you can basically pad your PLEX Vault and then sit there and resell it later on your mobile platform. You could basically effectively do arbitrage by phone.
Someday I'm going to understand what arbitrage means.
It's what Seamaster does when he buys a very cheap Plex in another region and then resells it in G.
Isn't that just like regional trade selling, or isn't that what they call it?
Well, when you're leaving out the moving part, that's counted after the fact. You're correcting prices. You usually do this with stockpiles locally, but when you have massive ability to just instantly teleport with the Plex Vault, you don't need to actually have stockpile, and you don't need to actually resupply or restock. But it's just fixing prices, right? If there's a price difference, you fix it almost immediately. That's what
I see. So it's the ripple down effect from Jita. everywhere else.
Exactly, and it's really very sensitive to timing, because this correction usually happens very fast, and then you need to take into consideration what is a natural price difference between regions.
Okay, let's try to do this in a more of a systematic way. What do we like about this new app where you can buy Plex from Jita right from your phone, anytime, anywhere you're at? If you're on the street, walking down the street somewhere, you don't have to be at a computer. You can just buy some Plex or sell some Plex.
What Nick said, the fact that you can do it, that's just awesome.
Yeah. Well, let's say here's a scenario that might have happened. I mean, the world's a different place right now, but you're not on the bus. You're not on mass transit right now. Let's say you're walking down the street and you hear a live broadcast like this because you're listening to it live on Twitch or something. And it says, oh, new dev blog out that something, and it's affecting the Plex prices. Now, instead of waiting till you get home that day from work, you can actually just turn the app on your phone, and you can sell your Plex before the price tanks.
Yeah, the volatility thing, you don't necessarily get caught by last day's volatility. You can get in while you're sitting somewhere else. You don't have to wait till you get home. That's really a nice feature, at least for the active Plex traders. I just still think that it's something I hope will eventually shift out into more and more player-owned structures, which is kind of already the case. But now you can have a bigger difference. So I wonder if there's something more in store down the pipe.
So just to define the term arbitrage clearly, it is specifically taking advantage of discrepancies between two separate markets.
Two separate prices within a market.
Every definition you can find everywhere specifies that it's two separate markets.
Okay, so it's two markets. So if Jita has a price point of 1 million per ISK, then Amar is going to have nearly that price point soon as people buy ISK in Jita. Buy Plex in Jita and move it to Amar and sell it there for roughly the same price or a little bit more. So it's an equalization of the price in Amar based on the price of a different trade hub, which would be Jita.
Yeah,
something like that.
Also, why your timing issue is a good example, because let's say one day something is announced from CCP that makes everyone go in there and buy up the too cheap Plex in Jita. Mm-hmm. They might not do that in Amar or in Delve or in Dodixie, right? So then the arbitrage guys will go and fix that market and buy it up there. And that's usually with a time lapse. There's a little bit of time in between that until that market corrects.
Well, with items, there's a big time gap because you literally have to pick up the item in Jita for the price that you bought it, and you have to haul it over to whatever trade hub, however far it is. So the further away from Jita, the longer it's going to take for that product to get there at that price. And Plex doesn't work by those rules, right? Because Plex is something that you put into your vault, and your vault is everywhere. So if you buy Plex from Jita, you put it in your vault, you can literally sell it on a different character on the same account a few minutes later in the furthest trade hub from Jita there is. There is no travel time for that merchandise.
Yeah, Plex exists in all places at all times.
Also why it almost instantly corrects in all regions in EVE Online if there's a massive change in price of Plex. But everything else, as you said, will change fairly slowly because it's very much volume based. So unless there's a complete glut and removal of something, you're not really going to have a massive change or reaction.
Now, why does this app bother you, Caleb? You were saying something about arbitrage.
It doesn't bother me. I just think it's
it does.
It's under the thing that I was expecting, right? The fact that there's no graph, so I can sit there and see the trend lines, and I'd even asked for them to put back the prospect thing where it estimates the trend line in the future and things like that we used to have. I'm just saying, widgets for market stuff is actually out there in open source in high quality, and every trading house out there has massive, awesome graph tools, and there's tons and tons of stuff with things like R and database code, and it's just it shouldn't really be that difficult. They should already have most of it, and the rest they can pretty much almost copy paste from an open source tool. So I just wonder, why didn't they just put that in there just for the graph porn effect, right? And it's like, oh, look at the graph, look at the trend line, oh, speculating. So, but the feature itself is great, and I hope they keep going. More and more stuff coming to the mobile app and to mobile platforms in general. I'm a huge fan.
All right. So we won't mark you down as a critic.
Somebody in the chat says it's a proof of concept for future.
Yeah,
I think
that was Nick.
that was Nick. Nick Bison.
Yeah,
very right.
Plex is an easy one for them to start with.
Well, is there's something?
I think they should think from bottom up if they want to add more of these. Of course, they should maybe expand it into the other items around Plex, so injectors and things like that. But I would definitely, if they want to expand it even further, they should go for things like mineral markets and materials and all the raw material markets, and not start adding ships and hulls, because that would just be dumb.
Yeah, there's essentially 3 categories of item in terms of how accessible they are. Plex is one, which exists in all places at all times. Then you have the items like injectors and certificates and extractors that don't exist in all places but can be used remotely, or skins. And then you have the basic type of item that cannot be used or accessed remotely at all.
It's just because fundamentally Jita 4.4 acts a little bit like a price-finding futures market, right? Especially when it comes to raw materials. Even though most might not necessarily be shipped to Jita, it's still where you decide on what the price is, and then the difference, again, back to the price difference from based on range and geography and benefits from player structures is basically just going to slowly spread out from the speculation on what changes have actually come into the game. So even though you don't necessarily get your titanium from Jita 4.4, the price of titanium in TTT will change according to the futures speculation in Jita.
Trying to find Eve market data.
Can I offer
Go ahead, McLeod.
I'm just kind of wondering, hey dude, I'm just kind of wondering, have we discussed how the accessibility of buying and selling Plex is affected by this? Like, I mean, I know it's obviously it's an app, but like the kind of the sea change in terms of accessibility that this requires, or that this allows.
You mean that it will speed up the incentive to do Plex trading?
I think it's only going to make day trading Plex more accessible as its current state.
Yeah. I was more thinking along the lines of in this kind of sense, CCP is like essentially allowing or removing the penalization of having to be actually in the game client in order to actually do this. Like if you hold down a job, if you're employed and you have a long working hours and stuff like that, and you can't be one of those sorts of people who plays every moment of the day, or has a lot of free time to be able to play Eve. You're still able to react just as quickly now to changes in the Plex market. Even if you're gainfully employed, let's put it that way.
I think there's an interesting strategy here. Caleb, maybe you can shed some light on this, but they seem to fix trading before this app came out. I get the impression that this app was ready to go a lot sooner than it's been released, but I think they had a certain order where the point one orders are already wiped out. That whole behavior is wiped out, and now the app is safe for deployment.
And this is back to what I've said before. The strategic rollout of things in CCP these days seems really well thought through, right? It's they seem to have gotten really smart on bringing things out in exactly the right order. You wanted to get the resource changes, get the market changes, get the bot activity, cool down the heat in the Plex market, add some benefit to player-owned structures, roll out and launch Serenity, then talk up all the possibilities of an actual virtual currency, which ties into things like crypto and virtual goods and services and brand unification. It's just, to me, it feels as if I was trying to get Hilmer yesterday to talk about walking in stations and brand unification. And even though he didn't really want to do that, and he said, yeah, it's still a dream, but it's not something we're chasing, it still feels like they're doing so, but in very, very slow, small increments.
Well, we can fall off that cliff and talk about walking in stations and what it would look like now compared to what the dream was a long time ago. But I want to refocus on this app itself. What we're looking at.
What I was doing, it was just I was pointing out that the stuff he talked about, very high level things about virtual currencies and cryptos and his understanding of Plex and the Plex market and virtual goods in his small presentation last year.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those examples of him thinking extremely big and then not pushing it to overpromise, but still slowly keeping that dream in the background and then slowly incrementing it, like cooking the frog, right? You might not want him to come out and say, oh, we're doing walking in stations, or we're coming out and doing brand unification, because that could bring on a lot of drama. But if he just turns on small features every day, right, like this, eventually it's going to be a reality. But you just didn't notice that it came.
Right. And that's a really interesting topic. We can dive into that because when we had talked, we thought, well, walking in stations is going to be where you're able to get out of your ship, walk through the station to a casino and gamble or see some dancing ladies or whatever. You're basically going to live in the space station. And I don't know if what they were thinking, because, space is already sparsely populated. You might see one or two other players in a remote station, or you might see Jita that has too many players to be rendered properly. So there's going to be a big hurdle there on what felt full and what felt completely vacant, and it might have been a bad thing, but people still wanted to be able to walk around and have that avatar experience. But what we've seen in real life is augmented reality, where you have your actual world around you, and then you look through the lens of a phone to see additional information, like a Pokemon little figure bouncing around on your sidewalk. That's imposed through your phone on top of that sidewalk. So you get that augmented reality.
And now you're doing what you said I shouldn't do. Anyway,
I know, because it's very interesting.
The point is, I don't think I can get really to actually talk about this because he's
suspiciously quiet.
But if you think of what's happening with Serenity, again, I am not an expert on Serenity because I don't really keep my eye on it that much. But in Serenity, they have this second currency, which is kind of like a legal extraction of value out of the game. And when you then think of the fact that they rolled out this app, they've done it at the same time that they built up the in-game model of Jita 4.4, which I just find kind of brilliant, right? Mm-hmm. You get an added feature in Jita 4.4 and you actually get an expansion of Jita 4.4. It's just kind of cool. But if you could trade Plex like this outside, right, and you have your Plex vault in your pocket, right, that means that if something like this was also launched on Serenity, that means that they can basically sit there and trade Plex and then convert it to the equivalent of almost like a real world currency with the other currency they have that can be converted into real money, right? So then you're slowly moving it along exactly the vision that he talked about. You're just doing it in stages. And that's what I mean when I say I feel like they're doing this in a very slow way, almost not telling us.
That's what I was getting to, was that the technology has shifted considerably, that you don't enter the world anymore. You're not entering the virtual world. The virtual world is imposing itself on the real world. And that might be the new way of envisioning walking in stations. The fact is that the station is all around you all the time through a lens, which would be your phone. And this kind of fits into that.
And can be a completely secondary platform, right? If you log in from, say, the same launcher to different titles from CCP, you effectively have walking in station just with more steps, right? So if I have to log into the secret MMO they're building and it has all the features that I would want from a walking in stations ambulation-based game, well, if many of the features that are tied to these games are outside of the clients on mobile platforms, then it is like walking in stations just with added steps, right? This is also why I suspect, or I would hope, that CCP is planning on putting the gambling thing on the phone, right?
Maybe Hypernet?
That should be the next step to
Yeah,
take.
Hypernet belongs on mobile.
Hypernet belongs on a mobile platform.
I'm surprised it isn't or wasn't right away. Yeah.
I think it's planned. I think it was planned from the beginning.
Yeah. I mean, the
So
interface.
what Caleb is describing, these small iterative changes that add up to something cohesive that people don't necessarily see coming, I refer to this as the re-factor. Like if you throw this all at the player's whole hog all at once, then everyone's gonna endlessly because players hate change. But when you do it, piecemeal, bit by bit, then we end up with a new reality that people kind of just adapt to and deal with because they never really had to, jump off a cliff. It was just change this and then this and then this.
When you said the refactor, I was like, yeah, that sounds very sci-fi. It must be, some conceptual idea of how you, and then you're like, I was like, oh, yes, the squealing pig factor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like players are just going to over everything.
And in case CCP is taking notes today and watching the show, the Project Discovery thing should actually go on mobile devices too. So it is in both from day one, because we need to be able to save the world from COVID on our phone.
Well, people,
that's true.
People are expecting things to move to mobile. Hilmar himself, the very, very, very first thing that he mentioned was that he wants to see on mobile was planetary production. He said that 2 years ago or a year and a half ago. So their CCP from Hilmar down is aware that there are a number of different game modes that exist within EVE Online that translate very well to a mobile sort of interface. So planetary production is one, Hypernet is another, PLEX is yet another, and I expect to see more.
Yeah, okay.
And you can iteratively also do this with features that you would normally not really expect to be available outside, right? I would be perfectly fine if you could tie in something like contract browsing and accepting contracts. Maybe not make them, but accepting them would be really useful on a mobile platform as well. And this would just be the next stage of the Hypernet, right? If they moved contracts onto the Hypernet and you then added Hypernet to a mobile platform, it would just be gold.
They could start with Eve mails as the next step. Like Eve mails would make the most sense in this project, to be honest, because it's the simplest thing you can do. Just attach your account to your mobile app. You would need to log in, obviously, and then you'd receive your Eve mails, your corporate Eve mails, your alliance Eve mails, all that stuff.
Now, I said I didn't want to go down this direction, Caleb, but because I wanted to go back and show that the app is on the left-hand side, and we have a website on the right-hand side. The one in white is the website from Fuzzwork Market Data. So I just wanted to compare those two. And now we can talk about virtual worlds.
Do anyone know if you can actually gift PLEX from the app?
Let's see.
That's not possible.
Let's have a look. So if I buy PLEX, and I will buy PLEX. Oh, this is a buy order. Let's say I want to just pick up an order here. So, wow, you know what you're going to need for this is you're going to need glasses if you're an older man. So I want to buy PLEX. Immediate. So I guess that's an immediate order there. And how many do I want to buy? Why don't I just buy 10? And I'll say create buy order. It's asking me to confirm. And I will confirm. And I've successfully placed a buy order. And there it is.
Wow, the app actually works as well.
It works, yeah.
Go figure.
Now,
Good job, guys. You made it work.
Must have been an outsourced project.
be nice.
Ooh, harsh.
They've been working at this. So it keeps my information on, it keeps my quantity information, it looks like. Because I put in 10, and on the cell PLEX, it keeps that information. You see that? So I can go between the two. Let me just focus people on the right thing to look at. So you can go back and forth, and it keeps your information here. Your quantity information, for instance. But the price
Definitely helpful.
But the price will change. See that?
Well, yeah. I mean, if you're trading Plex using this app, then you do want to be able to keep those prices, because those are basically almost essentially your you can determine your profit based on those.
Yeah.
Whereas if it wipes every single time, then like you have to literally somehow remember or make a note somewhere on your phone, like how much did I sell? How much did I buy it for? How much did I sell it for? Like
Right. So here I just bought it, and you can see it's my latest entry as far as what I bought. So I bought 10 Plex for 27.
And although you do have the transactions part that you just went to, and it will tell you how much and the quantity that you bought and sold for, that can trend based on obviously the market. So having your most recent buy and sell price is very useful to have like at your fingertips when you're on the trade window.
And I think when it comes to correcting prices and taking advantage of sales and all these things, because it's tied to the next store, I think there's going to be some interesting developments coming out of that.
Yeah. Now there's something else I want to show you. It's not to do with this Plex thing. Are we done with talking about this Plex thing? Is there more to it?
Well, wasn't the initial question, are you able to gift Plex through it?
Yeah, sorry. You're right.
I didn't see any particular option there to be able to do so, but
well, there is no gifting Plex function in the game. There's gifting Omega, and that's not a market function. That is a pilot services function. Or actually, I'm sorry, that's a New Eden store function. That's the ability to spend Plex at the New Eden.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can.
So here's a New Eden store, which is also on your phone, by the way.
And so you should be able to purchase, say, 30 days of Omega and gift it to somebody.
Yeah.
For example.
So that if they allow gifting, because you can gift anything from the New Eden store, you can get any purchase can be gifted. So that is either allowed on mobile or not, but that's not tied to today's update of the Plex market.
Wow, that was a little dangerous there, because I expected that there would be a next step to confirm the purchase, but it basically just spent 500 bucks. Yeah. So,
One click buy.
One click buy, no discussion. So I was hoping
apparently no gifting either.
And no gifting either. Yeah, that's what I was looking for. So
that's a missing feature in my opinion, because that would be really nice for everyone to be able to do that from the app.
I think you need a confirmation here, by the way. This is too straight into oops, I just lost 500 Plex to that one character that has years stacked on it already.
Apologies leading you down that road.
Yeah, who was that? Like, I want reimbursed. I'm just kidding. So by Plex, no gifting, but there's
I'll eat that one.
No. It's I'm
also
totally kidding.
Ideally, something like this should somehow softly be tied into recruitment, right? Because that means that you can start using your mobile phone for recruiting when you're hanging out with friends that want to try the game. So if you could basically buy Omega Time, gift it as a feature directly to an email, right? So when that email then clicks a link generated in the mail, then you go straight and get the game, and you get the added Omega Time from your friend. So that would just bring recruitment into real life, and it would be a massive, massive marketing ploy.
And the other thing is, you know, when you're recruiting people to play the game, like having friends in the game, like literally from the start of playing the game, is a lot more beneficial for, you know, keeping people in the game. So, you know, if you're at like the bar or the pub kind of thing, and you've interested a friend to, you know, try out this crazy experiment that is called EVE Online, and like they're up for it and you're up for it, but you're like, oh well, you know, I have to get back home to be able to send you the Plex, except send you the, you know, to buy the Plex, or and then like gift it to you, or buy the Omega time and send it to you. You know, it's another set of steps that, you know, may end up getting lost in the haze of drunkenness at the end of the night, right? Whereas if you can do it straight on your phone, you know, you're there and you're set, and he's ready to get to roll on the crazy adventure that is exploring Eve.
Yeah. So we just got raided by Urslag.
Urslag.
260 people.
Nice.
Yeah, way
A
more than we
massive
deserve.
blob.
Way more than we
Local
deserve.
spiked.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
It's like throwing.
Urslag's a good deal.
It's like throwing water at somebody. It'll hit you and then drop away. We expect a lot of these people will take off. But I did want to wrap up the new app for your phone to sell and buy Plex that just came out today, with one more tour on how to get to it. It is under More and Jita Plex Market app, or I guess it's an app inside of an app. And this allows you to buy and sell Plex real time on the Jita market. It's the most popular market, so pretty wild.
Plex.
Also,
Well,
go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, well, personally, I very much, you know, welcome every single person from Urslag's raid, whether they stick around or not.
Okay. Okay, I was being rude. Just being realistic, since we're not PvPing or
Urslag doesn't PvP. Urslag caters to our viewer base.
Our
very
clientele?
much.
Oh, I didn't. Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of crossover there.
My
You guys
ignorance.
should work together.
I feel like we're definitely more of a explanation meta show than a demonstration show. But although we're demonstrating today, this is the new app right here, with like 4 tabs on it. There's something else I wanted to pick up on, and this was something that that you might have missed, like I missed it. Thanks to Tiger for pointing it out. But if you go to your skills queue, they now have descriptions. Hey, my skill queue is empty. I better check that out.
There you go.
Wow.
This app
The app
just
was
helped me
useful
out.
for something.
And I just bought some Plex through my phone, so I better.
Years of Omega, no training.
Yeah.
Empty skill queue, lol.
That's embarrassing. Okay.
Fortunately, the GMs are very, very giving as far as empty skill queues for Omega. Generally speaking, if you accidentally pause your queue or allow it to become empty for whatever reason, and you submit a ticket, you know, for your Omega account, then a GM will most likely grant you unallocated skill points for the missing time.
Ah, the
Wow, great.
genies.
You just gave them a fuck ton more work, potentially.
Yeah.
Well done.
Imagine the 10,000 support tickets now.
Well, it used to be a catastrophe if you would log into your character and
alarm clock training.
Yeah. Let's just go down that old man road and talk about the way training used to be.
We did that. We did set our alarm clock to actually remind us to go and train and change the queue. It was horrible.
It was part of the hardness of Eve, right? To wake up at 3 a.m. to change your skill queue and then go back to bed.
One common trick that people used back then was, while you play during the day or whatever, you would oh my god, you would train your small skills, right? And then when you go to sleep, you would put something like more than 24 hours on the queue. Skill, you know, a longer skill, so you could actually sleep through the night and not have to alarm clock at 3 o'clock in the morning.
But you still had the problem that if you were like on vacation or visiting someone, and you were just sitting there looking at the clock going, oh my god, I've lost 6 hours of training time. My skill queue is empty. I have to get home.
I called my nephew one time and said, "Can you download EVE Online and put it on your machine and log into my account?" It took me like an hour, but I got him through it, and he put some
Account
training.
sharing, account sharing.
We shouldn't
talk about that.
He just changed the skill. Now it was like 2009, so it's okay. I think I'm
I
okay.
think you're out of the You're out of the statute of limitations.
Exactly,
Now,
statutes of limitations are over.
And then, but what the big crime was that you would log in and see that, for 5 days you had not trained any skills. That was a real catastrophe. So anyway,
so disappointing.
Yeah, your phone now you have calendars to help you with that in the game, and you also have this phone app to look things up. But what I wanted to point out, if I didn't already, is the descriptions are here now for skills, and I don't think that was there before, at least according to our friend Tiger here. So that is.
It was also when one of the first real useful third-party tools we got, right? The training queue optimizing tools to make sure that everything was trained in the right order. And it was fundamentally what CCP just added as a feature with the skill queue, right? It just gave you exactly the skill planning tool, boom, straight from player third-party tools into the game. Yeah. One of those examples of CCP taking an idea from the player base and actually implementing it in a massively useful way.
Yeah, so check that out. That is the EVE portal. It's the second attempt of EVE Online making a companion app. This is not EVE Echo as a game. This is a companion app. And this is now their second attempt at making this app. And now they've put PLEX buying and selling on this app. So now you can actually buy and sell PLEX as you go, but only through Jita. So it's only one station. And can you offshore with this? Did we check that out? Ooh, this is not good for.
No, it's only Jita. It's only Jita. That also means that it's also going to be potentially really good for the ISK sync, and it's also going to be very good for the competitive advantage of things like TTT trading.
Yeah, well, this is bad news for Vili if a lot of people take use this app.
No, because you're going to eventually get the spillover, right? Because if this gets used a lot, that means that the price will change a lot. So the volatility will bring a lot more market benefit to the trading tower. So it's not negative for that at all. The increase in activity in Jita will add to the ISK sync, add to the revenue stream of CCP, and eventually spill over to someone like Vili or other competitors in player structures.
This may cause the price of PLEX to rise when using the convenient method. And so you have the convenience switches in the app, and then you have, if you're patient and you have time and you're doing this professionally, then you may want to use something like the Tranquility Trading Tower, which may have lower or more favorable pricing.
Right. Well, that's interesting. They restricted it to Jita. You can't offshore with it like you could if you were in the game client. I think it is bad news for the Tranquility Trade Center, but
I think we'll be okay.
But yeah, he's here. He's here to. You're gonna be no tears. You're fine.
No, I'm not worried at all.
Okay.
Given how
you're not just putting a brave face on it.
Am I worried that people trading PLEX via an app is going to? No.
Okay. I didn't think so. All right. Well, cool. This is. We're pretty much at the end of the show. Thanks for coming by and listening to us.
Unless you wanted to talk about the event sites that went live.
I only have a few minutes. I have to get on with the day. Can you do it really quickly?
Yeah, it's pretty simple. I mean, they talk. There are Nutriglavians that are attacking Edencom structures in high-sec, low-sec, null, and wormholes. The regular sites are in high-sec. The high-end sites are in all other bands of space. The rewards involved are the Glamour X standing boosters, Cerebral accelerators, Capsularidae skins, and obviously regular Triglavian loot and salvage. They are designed similar to the previous event sites that we've seen recently. The Garistas Hunt, the Guardians Gala, the Dragonar Blitz, in that the PvE aspect of these sites is not particularly challenging. You don't need a crazy expensive ship to clear it. These are not cleared by Bling. The high-sec sites are pretty easily soloable, and the other sites are only a little bit tougher. Do encourage you to go with other people, but mainly the threats that you're going to find in the other sites are other players because there's no police around. So this is going to hopefully encourage a little bit of fighting, get everybody a little bit of loot, you know, get their cerebral accelerators and boosters. This is how they're distributing all the Capsuleer Day skins for the Empire ships as opposed to the SOCT Special Edition ships. The Capsuleer Day skins for the SOCT Special Edition ships are being given away in the login campaign, and they are auto-consumed, which means that if you have those skins for those ships, then that means that you logged in during this time.
Got it. All right.
That's the short version.
That's pretty good. We're going to continue to have discussion offline. So join us on Talking in Station's Discord. Want to say thanks to everyone for joining us. We're going to now raid somebody, and we will see you tomorrow.
Ooh, who are we going to raid?